Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Our topic of today's presentation is the level of research. We will be mostly discussing the level of research that are normally conducted in different institutions. The outline of the course that we already discussed in the first lecture. Now, research, we discussed it in our first lecture that research is a way of thinking. It is either discovery of new facts, enunciation of new principles, or fresh interpretation of the previously established facts or principles. You need to understand that, like I have said in the told in the first lecture, that it's not about just only you keep some idea in your mind and you say that it's a research until and unless you present it somewhere in a conference, in a workshop, or you send it for publication in a reputed journal, and then that is called as research. Now, the first level research or the master level research, normally we say that master's thesis. What actually a master's thesis is? It is generally a very small scale investigation that puts forward an hypothesis to be tested for further study. That is where now this small scale investigation that is needed, that is required for a master level thesis, its prime objective is the training of the student. Therefore, the process of this process of learning is much more important than the outcome of the or the degree, and it very seldom provides results that can be implemented immediately into the healthcare system. We are talking about the medical sciences and the research that is normally being conducted in the medical sciences. The duration for a master level thesis is 12 to 18 months. It is part fulfillment of the degree. You need to understand that the powerful fulfillment of a degree means that you need to complete those that time period, that credit hours, in order to get the degree. And this type of guides, or the master thesis guide, is called the supervisor guide, whose intellectual resources are extensively utilized, because you feel that that is how it is done, that the supervisor is the boss over here, and his intellectual thinking, his expertise will be utilized. And based on the institutional resources, this is mostly done without support of any funding agency. The master level thesis is mostly, it is carried out by the resources of the institute, not from the foreign or external funding agencies. There is no public defense of these findings. It's not very much required that you go for announcement of your defense, and the volume is nearly about 100 pages of this thesis. Then the second level research is the doctoral thesis, PhD thesis that we call. It is a detailed discourse on a particular topic that provides a new result or a new perspective. And this new perspective or the new findings, these new results, they must be capable of publication. That's a primary requirement for a PhD work. And the results of these findings can immediately be implemented in a healthcare system. At times, your research for a doctoral level or PhD thesis, it's most of the at times it's been funded by some agency, by some medicinal companies, or any other medical research organization. It might be funding it. So the findings, the results which you are going to get from these kind of studies, that immediately they are waiting for it to be published, and then they implement it in the healthcare system, if it is possible. The duration for a doctoral level research or dissertation is 3 to 4 years, and at time thesis or dissertation itself is enough for the degree. In some of the countries, it is very much acceptable that you just combine your research papers and then you put them up for the award of the degree. This type of guide or the doctoral level research guide is called as the advisor, because most of the work that is being done is based on the candidate's own intellectual contribution, because it's you, the research, whose intellectual capabilities, whose time, whose expertise will develop over the period of the time, and that those will be utilized. it must provide evidence of critical thinking of the candidate on the topic of research. That's very much prerequisite of a PhD, that you should have good command over your research topic, the background information, the discussion, the methodology. The candidate should have the best command over all these important things. And based on the institutional research, it can be part um, of a large scale research funding by some agency. It can be possible, or your institute might do the resources, the fundings, or they might provide the labs, etc. And the doctoral level research, it is very much required to be publicly defended. You have to announce the day of of your defense, and the people they are going to come. They might ask you about some questions related to your work. You definitely need to request for an external Viva examiner who will come. He will be expertise. Must have got expertise in that particular field. Might be asking the questions as well. And the volume is mostly of 200 pages or more. And this doctoral level research, if we continue with it, it is there are a few other important considerations that should be kept in the mind. The very first one is the choice of the supervisor. Believe me, it is one of the most important thing for a PhD work. Who is your supervisor? What's his expertise? What's his field? A wrong supervisor can be destructive for career, because you might be stuck on with your research work. You might not have, if you choose a different field from the which are not the expertise of your supervisor, then it will take a lot of time to get out of that work. So, and because the research in it is advisable to go for research in supervisor's expertise. That, like, I might suggest that if your supervisor has got some expertise in tuberculosis, then it's better to work on that um, uh, organism. It's not advisable that you go and present your research synopsis to a person who has got you provide him with virology topic or something related to fungi, and the person is an expert in tuberculosis. So that's what you have to do. You have to carry on your research in your supervisor's expertise area. Always plan a doable research. That is one of the most important things that I always suggest to my students, that go for the doable work. Do not keep very high hopes. Don't think of those things that I'll do this, I'll do that. Go for doable. Whatsoever is available to you. What sort of funding do you have? What sort of laboratory facilities, whether it's by safety level 1, 2, 3, whatsoever facilities you have got, work within that premises. Asking is about the supervisor whether he is available more. That is very important thing, because if your supervisor is not available, he's got too many items on his table. He might be having a very big lab. He might be having lots of PhD students, sample students. That's not as advisable to work under that supervision, especially from the countries like us, of the developing countries. Then we don't have that much background of the knowledge, and we don't know the resources. We don't know at times the language. So it's very much important that we should opt for a supervisor. We should choose a supervisor who is available to you. Choice of the topic. Go for a topic which is doable, workable, availability of infrastructure and resources. That's very important. Do not indulge in a topic which requires a biosafety level 3 requirements, and you don't have that in your lab, and you have to then do some certain other arrangements, so it's not as advisable. Funding and time, look for these things as well. You cannot waste all of your time. You've got just 3-4 years to complete your doctoral dissertation. So keep in mind there are those things. Then choice of the research group, lab group, or institute. Plan big if feasible. Opt for international work, and try to look for big research group. That's advisable, because then it is possible that if you opt for a good research group, then they will help you out. They might have so many other experts around you, and it's a good thing. And above all, they might have good experience of helping you out to get your degree in time. The third level research is called the institutional study. It is the institutional study generally conducted in only one location. It is a large investigation that culminates into a full-fledged project report. It is mostly published in a reputable journal in a concise form and is expected to provide a path-breaking results that can be implemented immediately in the healthcare system. And it is mostly based on specially marked funds. Institute like in our institute, you combine different departments. They together they plan a research large scale project and then they work on it. Fourth level research is a multi-centric study. And this sort of studies, they are conducted mostly in several locations with a common protocol to check their applicability in a variety of settings. Necessarily a very large level investigation for which a full-fledged report is prepared. Some of the experiments might be conducted in UK, some of them might be conducted in US or Japan, and together they're going to publish. Are they the different resources? They might be requested from different places, and a large level multi-centric study is held, is done, and then almost this kind of study almost invariably finds place in a reputed journal. The publications, actually, this sort of multicentric study or this big level research, large scale investigation, they're mostly done just to, for the publication in a very highly reputed journal. And this attracts attention because of its size, but there is no evidence just that this level of research produces path-breaking results. It's not absolute, it's not necessary. So it is this site also, this sort of research is invariably based on specially marked funds. You need to understand that research is systematic. It is there is always a definite set of procedures, protocols which you will follow in order to get the most accurate results. And then research is organized. You need to understand it. That research is then a researcher should be patient. A research always takes time, so you need to be patient. You cannot expect your result the next morning. It's not necessary that you will, especially in the medical sciences, you will get the results which you have got in your mind. Okay, I'll do this and then I'll get this. No, it's not necessary. Researcher should be ambitious. It's very much important that a researcher should be ambitious. And remember, it's a research. It's already data is there, search is there, and you're going to look out for the new facts surrounding that principles most of the time. Some important definitions that you need to be aware of. The first one is undergraduate program. It means that this is the 4-year bachelor programs, the 2-year conventional masters and MSc programs. The graduate level means MPhil, masters, MS, and or the PhD programs, whereas the master means only MPhil or MS programs. Some other important definition is a dissertation, or what is a thesis. It is a report comprising the original research of a student, which is counted towards the partial fulfillment of his master's, MPhil, or PhD degree. Like I earlier told you, who is a thesis supervisor or advisor? Most of the time, it's a permanent faculty member who supervises or guides thesis dissertation of a postgraduate master level MBA, MPhil, PhD student till the successful completion of the research work. The supervisor advisor must have sufficient experience and relevant qualification, that is minimum PhD in the field of research. It should be kept in mind that most of the time it's the supervisor who again helps you out in the write-up, thesis write-up as well. What is co-supervisor or co-advisor? A faculty specialist from industry R&D division organization in a specific field in which expertise facilities are not available within the university. At times you are planning to do some work, some part of your project, part of your PhD work or MPhil work, where the facilities they are not available at your main campus, main university. Then you might look out for other options. You might look out for some research institutes, or at times you might be looking for the labs of the hospitals to collect some samples related to some infectious diseases. So the person over there who might be helping you, he can be your co-supervisor, who is going to assist in supervision guidance of the thesis of a BS, MPhil, MBA, MPhil, or PhD programs student till completion of research work. The co-supervisor or the co-advisor must have sufficient experience and relevant qualification, that is a PhD in the field of research. 4-year degree program, you might know it that it's most of the time the credit hours are 130 to 136 credit hours. Semester duration is 16 to 18 weeks. 8 regular semesters are conducted over a period of maximum with a 1 to 2 semester per year, and course load is 15 to 20 credit hours per semester. And then we have got an internship or a project. Every student who is required to write a research project that is similar to thesis, but it's of low intensity, low volume, low research workload, and will a student will do his or her research internship in an organization which relates to the discipline in which he or she is graduating. This is to be done when the student is at a senior level, that is fourth year. Please keep in your mind some of the curriculum, board of studies, they also provide you a replacement of that. Instead of going for the internship, you need to, let's say, you need to pass 2 subjects of 3 credit hours each. Either credit hours like 6 credit hours is for an internship project, a research report. Then you can go on and you can, instead of that, you can go for 2 subjects of 3 credit hours each, which means a total of six credit hours. MS MPhil structure, that is total number of credit hours in an MS MPhil program are 50, and that includes 24 credit hours of coursework and 26 credit of research work. Semester duration 16 to 8, that is for our Ahmedabad University of Science and Technology. Semester duration again 16 to 18 weeks, including 1 week for midterm and 1 week for the final term. Number of regular semesters are 4, including 2 core semesters for coursework, and then you've got 2 semesters for research. Number of summer sessions, 1 to 2 in calendar year, that depends. Course load per semester is 9 to 12 credit hours for a master's, for an MS or MPhil program. MPhil, the thesis of MPhil will be evaluated to be satisfactory or unsatisfactory for qualification and award of MPhil degree. For PhD, 18 credit of coursework is mandatory requirement spanning over 2 semesters. These are the semester rules of Ahmedabad University of Science and Technology. Now, what is the Higher Education Commission of Pakistan? What's their minimum criteria for MS, MPhil, or PhD programs? You should be aware of that. MS, MPhil programs for the award of the degree of MS, MPhil, or equivalent degree program, the candidates will either need to complete 30 credit of coursework, or completes he has to complete 24 credit hours of coursework along with a minimum of 6 credit hours of research work or thesis. And then for MPhil degree, this 6 credit of research is mandatory. However, exception can be allowed for MS in those disciplines where research is not feasible. PhD program, what is the requirement? What is the minimum CGPA that you need to have before getting admission? The minimum CGPA is 3. So out of 4 in the semester system or first division in the annual system. So a student needs to have this 3 CGPA in his MPhil, MS, or equivalent degree in order to get admission into a PhD program. Then for a PhD program, a special test is conducted by the National Testing Service, NTS, in the area of specialization chosen at PhD level. It must be cleared. And at times the facility is not, let's say, available in the subject list, then a university committee which is comprised of 3 PhD faculty members in the subject area, and they are going to conduct the GRE tests, and the qualifying score for this test is going to be 70%. What is the coursework? Coursework of 18 credit hours, preferably in the first year, is required to be completed and followed by a comprehensive examination for granting candidacy as PhD researcher. Foreign expert evaluation is also very much required. The PhD HEC requires that a PhD dissertation must be evaluated by at least 2 PhD experts from technologically, academically advanced foreign countries. The list is provided on the HEC's website. Open defense is carried out, is very much essential for a PhD program after positive evaluation reports from the external examiners. Then the research paper publication, their acceptance of publication in at least 1 research paper in HEC approved journal is a requirement for the award of PhD degree. I must add that these criteria, they are being changed over the period of time, so you need to check the HEC website for the latest requirements for these degrees. Then the plagiarism test must be conducted on the dissertation before its submission to the foreign experts. Thank you so much for listening to this lecture. Thank you.